The Smite Talk podcast is proudly sponsored by Tweaked Audio. Go to tweakedaudio.com for high-performance noise-reducing earbuds. Use the code OctanePro for 33% off and free shipping anywhere in the world. Check out tweakedaudio.com today.
And let's try this again. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 14 of Smite Talk. My name is Octane Pro, and joining me tonight is community caster, streamer, and esports contributor. We have F. F. How's it going, man?
It's going fantastic. I remembered to unmute my mic. Everything is going as planned. How about you? How's it going, Octane Pro?
I'm doing well. So guys, I need to tell you a story ahead of time. So F. and I were getting the show prepped and ready to go, and I had to go, and I came back after a bathroom break, and I put on my headphones, and I hear this person laughing in the background, and it sounds like, I'm like, who is this little schoolgirl in the background laughing? I'm like, what's going on there? And it's F. You might go ahead and refresh your camera, by the way, on Skype. It looks like you're stuck in a pose right now. And it's like this sophisticated, I'm going to beat you up pose, by the way, which is pretty good.
That's actually just me. I'm actually just doing that, but here we go. I figured I would change it up a little bit. But that's how I generally stand. If you see me at all during the day, that's what I'm looking like. So when you see me tweet like crazy, that's what I look like.
So you're so intimidating to like look at like that. Like if I saw you on the street, like, yo, don't mess with that gangster. Like look at that man.
Oh,
look at that man.
My Skype picture came up.
Yep. So serious, bro. So serious. Anyways, guys, those of you guys that are checking out Smite Talk for the first time, as you can tell, this is a very laid-back, casual show. It'll be about 45 minutes to an hour, and it's going to be, we're going to do an interview with F. Just kind of, getting to know him, his background, who he is in the community, what he does, and then we'll open it up to the community, and this is kind of the part where the show shines the best, and so I encourage you guys to call in. Directly below my video, you'll see the raid call information. Raid call is just like TeamSpeak and other voice chat programs. It just allows you guys to go ahead and call in. So you can call in and ask a question. It can be directed specifically at F. It could be about Smite. It could be about certain players. It could be about esports. It could be about gods. Anything you want related to Smite. So check it out. The information is up there as well. Also, if you guys are unable to call in, and I really want to encourage you guys to call in, call-in's the best part. It makes up the show. It's a lot of fun. But if you can't call in, you can go ahead and ask a question via the ask.fm/OctanePro. And let me put that in chat real quick here so that you guys do have it available. And, I do understand not everybody has the ability to use voice chat. Sometimes your computer's in the kitchen, or your parents are around and you don't feel comfortable, or you have to be quiet because of X, Y, and Z. So feel free to go ahead and send the question our way, and we'll definitely talk about it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in the show. F. You ready, man?
Can I actually type my answers? My parents are around and I don't feel comfortable.
No, too bad. So anyways, you don't have a choice, sir. You don't have a choice. So anyways, guys, we're going to go ahead and start out and get to know, F. a little bit more and just kind of understand. So the first question we'll throw out there is, what is the story behind your gamer handle of F.
F. It's a really cool story, Octane Pro. I've been playing under the name F. for a couple of years now, and it all started way back in
Well, there it is. The man trolls. He mutes himself because I know it's not a technological issue. So he goes ahead and mutes himself.
I really just... what was that? What was that? It's just a part of me at this point, basically,
okay.
Is what, it's just a part of me.
Awesome. So, cool story, bro. Cool story. Thanks for sharing with the group. For sure. So, moving on. Growing up, F. What video games did you play, and was there any particular genre that kind of constantly caught your eye year in and year out?
Well, I played a lot of games. As a kid, I guess what really sparked it all, I always played video games. I always like to say that Zelda is what taught me how to read. But
That's awesome. That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, I've been playing games forever, and at 12, I got a job at a LAN center.
Okay.
And that really launched me into like the PC gaming arena.
Sure.
And so I played a lot of Counter-Strike 1.6.
Okay.
And involved in tournaments, not playing but running them, and I ran a couple of Smash tournaments. And then I when World of Warcraft came out, that was my game. Like that's where I met. I still play Smite with some of these individuals that I met in World of Warcraft.
Okay.
That really like is what grabbed me. And one of the things that I liked about World of Warcraft was the team aspect of it. And one of the things I hated about World of Warcraft was that you didn't need any video game skill. You target somebody, you press your spreadsheet, and you win.
Sure. How fast can you hit 1, 2, 3, and 4 as fast as you can and spam them? So
exactly.
a few things there to comment on. So you're definitely involved in the Counter-Strike 1.6, which is awesome. I knew I liked you. I have the original box directly behind me up on the shelf. So I knew I liked you from somewhere. Second thing you actually talked about was Smash Brothers, which is interesting because that's actually what Hi-Rez Kelly originally got into a lot of as well, was putting together some of these Smash tournaments. So it's kind of cool to see that we have people starting to come from different genres, kind of migrating into Smite. And then the big one there, World of Warcraft, as I've talked about in the past on stream, that was my kind of entry as well. I played a lot of WoW, a lot of PvP. I was very big into it, played on a few teams, nothing crazy competitive, wish it was, but at that time it wasn't really. And that's kind of what brought me into Smite and attracted me, because it was a third-person PvP with WoW. Now for you, we'll have to jump to our next question here, kind of trail into that, was jumping ahead, when did you start playing Smite? Was it a year ago? Was it a year and a half ago? Was it 3 months ago? And what attracted you to it?
Well, I'm definitely a little on the young blood side. I've been playing Smite for a little under a year now. And my friends are what brought me to Smite. So the story was, my friend, little bit of history, I despise click to move, and thus I despise MOBAs in general. And my friend Ryan approached me and he said, hey F-Dot, I got a game we should play. And I said, sure, I'm all ears. He's like, one condition, you gotta let me finish before you shut me down. And I said, okay, what is it? He's like, well, it's a MOBA. I said, go away, goodbye. Out of Mumble, you're done. But he said, no, it's on the Unreal Engine, and all of a sudden I got excited. Sure. Because if it's on the Unreal Engine, that means it's third person. That means there's skill involved. It's not just auto attack, and that's what really caught my eye. So I tried it. I played Artemis, and I ran out of mana, and I died. And I said, this is cool, but I'm horrible. Let's play some more. And I'm pretty sure I played for 12 hours straight. Wow. Bought the God Pack that day, and it's never stopped since.
So you got your gateway drug there, and now you're completely addicted, pretty much.
100%. I mean, I love... The thing that I love about Smite is the team aspect. Everybody has a different role. All the roles have a different skill set. Everybody needs to work in one cohesive unit to win games. And that's what attracts me and keeps me here. So...
Well, good to know. Good to know. I mean, without a doubt. Now, have you played Hi-Rez's other game out there, Tribes?
I played a little bit of Tribes. I had a friend that was really into it, and I'm a fan of Anarchy AO, who did a lot of Tribes work, and I was terrible at it. I just could not. The speed was just too high for me. I consider myself an average to above average gamer, but Tribes was just too much.
Yeah, trust me, I'm not disagreeing. Like, I played the original Tribes, and I played with another buddy of mine, and he was amazing at skiing, and I couldn't do it for the life of me. It was terrible. It was just like, I can only imagine what my teammates thought when I played that game and saw me attempting to ski. It was a disaster. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting how you had kind of mentioned the Unreal Engine, which all of us are very familiar with Tribes there. So moving on from there, there's a numerous amount of streamers out there in Smite now. It kind of started out very small. There wasn't really that many people. It was actually when I first got into streaming Smite, but it's expanded beyond belief with not only a lot of streamers but also a lot of talent. And who do you find yourself kind of watching time and time again, which is almost like your guilty pleasure?
Well, I watch. Well, that's an interesting statement. How you said guilty pleasure, because I watch a lot of Twitch, and if you know me, you know that I'm invested in the competitive scene, and so I tend to stray away from Smite Game and Smite Pro. And I tend to gravitate towards the individual competitive players.
Okay.
And so I find you can find me every morning in my man Jeff Hinla's stream.
Okay.
He plays support for Denial, and if any of you guys have caught Pon on Smite Game or Smite Pro, Denial just has this culture. And he has the same sort of like relaxed but still trying hard and I'm willing to teach you everything I'm doing attitude.
Okay.
And that is just so attractive. So I watch a lot of Jeff, and then on the flip side, for completely different reasons, you can learn a lot from Allied and Wolfie, but it's a much different experience. Like when I wake up in the morning and I finish my morning stream, which is 7 to 10 on twitch.tv/tiermonster, when I finish my morning stream, I finish my coffee and I watch intently Jeff Hindler.
Sure.
And then as the day goes on, I chill out with my friends, grab a soda, and laugh my face off watching Allied and Wolfie. I think they're like quality entertainment, but it's a much different experience. So,
so how much did Mr. Drybear pay you to promote Tier Monster? Just want to put it out there.
Nothing. I'm still waiting on my Tier Monster free T-shirt. Actually.
Yeah, where's that at, Drybear? I'm waiting too, man. You asked for my address. Come on now, step up, dude.
But no, on the real, I'm really, if you give me like 2 seconds to talk about it real quick.
Please.
I love my Tier Monster. Yeah, I love my Tier Monster family. I love what I do in the morning. I think it's different than a lot of content that we can offer. And like I said, everybody at Tier Monster is just a lot of fun. So I try to promote it as much as possible because I love the Tier Monster family so much.
Sure. So let's expand off of that. So you stream every morning. Let's just kind of go on that. Every morning from 7 to 10. Is that what you said?
Yeah, every weekday, 7 to 10 a.m. on twitch.tv/tiermonster. Okay. We call it first period.
Okay.
I drink my coffee, and we generally, there's no official breakdown, but basically the first hour, I kind of just peruse the casual queue. And the second hour, sometimes we'll get into some viewer games, but usually just me in the casual queue. And if I have something to talk about, whether it's from the world of sports or the world of Smite or the world of something that I came upon walking down the street, I'll switch the camera and I'll just discuss with the audience out there, what something that I want to talk about. And that said, throughout the stream, like, I'm always conversing with chat. I think that's a really big deal, especially for a morning show. And so it's a little different. The focus is not so much on my gameplay, and that's what's fun about it. So.
No, that's sweet. So outside of Tier Monster, I mean, prior to the show, you'd kind of mentioned that you do some writing for SK Gaming. Now, how did you get involved with that? And now that, how did that work out? Was it specifically Smite or MOBAs, or how did you get involved with that?
The same way I got involved with everything that I do in the Smite community, I just got off my butt and threw my name out there. There was a Reddit post saying, hey, SK Gaming is looking for people to talk about Smite. And I said, hey, I like Smite, and I know the name SK Gaming.
Sure.
I can do that. And, I submitted a writing sample, and I'm not the worst person in the world when it comes to the English language. So I got the job. And I've been working with them for a number of months now under the famous Curly Chan. She does a lot of work in the League of Legends scene. She's like actually at the places in Cologne talking to Fnatic and stuff. So I mean, SK doesn't have a team at the moment in Smite, but they did. And watch out for the future. SK is coming back. Okay,
heard it here first, folks. That's awesome to hear. I mean, it was kind of a bummer to see them kind of part ways, per se, you could put it. I'm kind of happy to hear that, because I know SK was definitely one of the top few teams out there that got introduced into the Smite scene, and they're definitely not a small organization. So it was kind of cool to see. I mean, originally we started out with like your Root and Curse, and they were kind of a big deal. SK kind of jumped in there. It was like, wow, like decent size organization now. And then after that, followed like Team Dignitas. So it's really cool to hear that, without a doubt. And so outside of Tier Monster, and you do some writing for SK, what else do you do within the Smite community?
Well, I do a little bit of so like one of the things I stress on casual play. I obviously pay a lot of attention to the competitive scene, but myself, I kind of just I leave my grit and my desire to really watch and analyze.
Okay.
And when I play in the casual queue. I do a lot on my personal channel, which is twitch.tv/fswag, and at night, it's usually like for a couple of hours. I usually start at like 9 p.m. Unless, full disclosure, unless the Knicks are playing, then y'all gotta wait. But no, every weeknight I'm generally on my channel, just kind of hanging out. I have a lot of friends that we hang out and mumble, and like I said, it's very casual. Everybody just sort of makes fun of my friends, and I'm actually that's where we're at now.
Okay.
But I have a lot of stuff in the works. You guys that watch Smite games saw Nietzsche do his thing with DM. You obviously know that he's talented. Me and Nietzsche have a lot of stuff in the making. I'm trying to take my channel away from being something just plain casual and kind of have like stuff drawn out. I have a full schedule right here. You guys can't read it because that's a secret, but look forward to a lot of interesting, not just, hey, I'm playing Smite, content coming out of me and some other players in the Smite community. So
sure, definitely. Well, guys, make sure that you guys do follow him on Twitch, and make sure you put that in Smite games so people could go and follow you directly on your channel to check that out moving forward. Now, we did have a few weeks ago, you had the pleasure, I guess, DM Brandon was doing a Smite casting call, and you were one of the individuals that had the lucky opportunity to participate in that, and then that actually turned into you covering for Lionheart during the 1 week. And tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, once again, that was just kind of me getting off my butt and deciding that I wanted to do something. DM made a post, and I posted in the thread. I have no casting experience, actually. I just watch too many sports and esports, and, I speak not horribly. And so I threw my name in the ring, and thanks to wonderful outpour from all of my chat members from Tier Monster, DM gave me a shot, and before that, Dry Bear saw that I posted in the thread, and he contacted me and said, hey, are you interested in casting? Do you want to cast this code whatever tournament for Tier Monster? And I gave it a shot. And that was actually my first shot.
Okay.
And then the audition with DM was my second.
Okay.
And then the North American tournament last week was my third cast ever. So, it's a learning process, and I definitely I love when people point out my mistakes because that just gives me something to rehearse.
Sure.
And no, on a serious note, a lot of streamers and a lot of personalities, if you allow me to get up on my soapbox real quick, a lot of personalities in this esports world, this Smite game world that we live in, are very like, oh, you said I made the wrong item choice. You're timed out for 10 minutes. Get out of here. I am not a professional, and even the professionals have things to learn. Yeah. So whether if it's my gameplay, my presentation, or my casting, if I have an issue, please let me know so I can get better. That's how I view it. I don't view backseat gaming as a thing. You give me a tip, and I'm either going to agree or disagree. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, it really comes down to your personality, how you deal with criticism. You either can take it to heart and make the changes necessary to make it better, or you could be offended by it and just turn it away. So, I definitely agree with you. So, moving on from there, is there a god or god type in Smite that you've been waiting for but hasn't been released yet, that you've seen maybe in other games or other genres and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, Octane, and I think that really the 4 or 5 positions and stuff that we have are pretty well set. The only thing I can see that's not in Smite at the moment is a full-out Bard class that doesn't do much of anything besides assist his teammates.
Okay.
And I'm actually really interested in that. The problem is, we've seen how that works with Aphrodite, and they just don't get played.
Yeah, so, that's true. That's true.
While Aphrodite has back off and Doves is technically an offensive spell, question mark, let's be real here. It's all about the link, the heal, and the immunity from her ultimate. So, she's just not powerful enough because Smite is an action game and all 5 members need to be able to output damage. And, that's why tanks scale so high, etc. But, I would like to see a Bard class or a Bard God, but I'm not sure if that could be applicable to the way Smite plays right now.
Sure. Really good answer, actually. Moving on from there have been several new mechanics added to Smite over the last year that have reshaped the game. Which one do you feel has made the most significant to changing the game?
I guess I would say the emphasis on mid harpies.
Okay. Sure.
And I love them. I love the emphasis on mid harpies. I think that I like how Hi-Rez sort of we changed it from 1 minute 40 seconds to 2 minutes.
Yep.
They're really trying to figure out how to make that work. But the idea that every X amount of time there is a designated point of contention on the map is interesting for 2 reasons.
Okay.
One, it gives the casual fan something to understand flat out, they're always going to fight over these mid camps. They may not determine the end game, but they obviously have a lot to do. And 2, I love that it forces the jungler and people that want to use attacks as part of their game plan, it forces them to be a little more choosy, and it punishes them for when they fail their gank, because with only a 2-minute window with the recent patch in between harpies, you need to balance what you're doing versus how you can grab those harpies. So.
Sure. Yeah, I mean that was a big change they made this past week with the Geb patch, with adjusting the harpy timing, and it floors me every time I'm in a game and someone hasn't read the patch notes, so they're sitting there waiting for the harpies to come up, and nothing happened. You know what I mean? Like they don't realize it. So it is a huge significance. Outside of that, oh yeah, definitely. Looks like Drybear is in chat right now, so we were able to call him out, by the way. So Drybear, if you're just joining us, you missed it out. Me and F. called you out, bro, but it's okay. What is this question that he said here? Let's see.
He was just talking about somebody mentioned, because I had talked about builds and people get offended, and Drybear said, well, it's the caster's job to pick apart builds. If you're offended, get out of the kitchen.
I like the way you worded that, sir. Moving on from there, so you seem to have a very natural voice and personality match to casting, hence why you talked about how you casted for Tier Monster, and then from there you went ahead and did the caster call, and then directly into casting on for Hi-Rez that one time. So very natural for you. What type of experience do you have, just life experience or job or whatever, that's kind of shaped this talent for you?
I'm just a long-winded SOB, Octane Pro. I really don't have any.
At least you're honest, man. At least you're honest.
Yeah, I mean, I talk a little too much. I'm a very verbose individual, and I don't have any professional experience. But I'm used to being. I don't have any stage fright. I'm used to be. I'm comfortable in front of a crowd.
Sure.
As a kid in school, I did a lot of acting. Outside of school, I played in various rock bands and stuff. So. Being in front of a crowd, being a voice is not something that's new to me, but play-by-play, color commentary, being a pundit, if you will, is definitely something new to me. But like I said, I like to talk, and I like it, so.
No, without a doubt. I mean, I think it's awesome, to be honest with you. Moving on from there, everyone has a favorite team. And as you kind of talked about, you're a really big sports fan, especially like the Knicks you talked about. But within, and you follow the competitive scene very closely, even the players specifically. So who's your favorite team and why right now in Smite?
Right, and that's an interesting question, and you're 100% right. I do like the players more than the game, not more than the game itself, but I feel like the individual players extrapolate what we already love about the game. Now, to attack your question head on, I'm going to try not to dodge this, Octane, because I just love this scene, but I have a tendency to really, really, really love Denial and Cog.
Okay.
Denial and Cog in the NA scene, and for the EU scene, I love the matchup between TSM and C9. I won't say a particular team, but so that, to answer the second part of your question, Denial. Okay. Why do I love Denial?
Sure.
I love Denial because of their culture, Octane Pro.
Okay.
Their culture that they have cultivated there. Jeff Hinla, Pon, Pain de Viande, everyone on that team is just woosah. And that's not to say that they don't. That's not to say that they don't get passionate. They have a passion for the game and they get loud, but you'll never hear them yelling at each other. Okay. When something goes wrong, if you're ever watching Pon streaming in a tournament, when something goes wrong, the response is, "Do you know what happened? Why did you die? That's what happened.
Sure.
That's unfortunate. Let's move on."
Yeah.
And like I said, there is passion. They do get excited, and that happens. But the way they handle things is so very. I just love their culture and Cognitive. Why do I love Cognitive?
Okay.
Almost for the opposite reason, and I'm not talking about their in-game mumble. They have Cognitive is the winner of the North American scene.
Okay.
And this is going to be a controversial thing. I know not a lot of people are going to like this, but that's what I'm about. That's my gimmick.
Okay.
I like Cognitive Gaming NA because they win, they're good, and they know it. I like that. I love the taunt spam at the end of games. I love the casual conversation on Twitter at the end of tournaments. It ruffles people's feathers, but it breeds rivalries. It breeds something to talk about. And I love it. I love it. I love a team that's confident. And I want to see, I like the way that they do things. I think there's a fine line, and I think that they toe it often, and that's exciting. People loved watching Dennis Rodman. I love watching Cognitive.
So I gotta ask, you kind of said you weren't going to dodge the question, but you kind of talked about a lot of teams there. So which one's your favorite?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I'll have to go with Denial. I'll have to go with Denial.
Okay.
Because like I said, as much as I love that, biting attitude, we're better than you are, but the ability, also, not for nothing, Denial is your constant number 2. They're always there. Teams like Dignitas and now Cognitive x Exertus have dominated the scene. Denial's just always there. And that is respectable. The combination of them being always there, the love I have for their culture, and they play well from behind, which is a trait that not many teams have.
Well, I think it's interesting, too, because, we look at the European scene where we have Team Solo Mid and Cloud9, and the rivalry is what makes the game so exciting. I mean, it was so cool this week to see them go 1-1 head-to-head to go into a third match. I'm really eager to see Denial finally adapt properly, and I'm not saying, I'm not pointing out one specific thing, but, allowing Denial to finally adapt to Cognitive to the point where the rivalry is there even more. So that we see that week in and week out. Because I'd love to see that type of competition and rivalry on both sides of not only North America, but also EU. So I will have to agree. I mean, Denial is a blast to watch, and they're one of the big teams as well that has the ability to adapt so well. It's kind of what you talked about there, just kind of identifying where your issues are occurring and then adapting to take advantage of it. So, definitely a very good point. Moving on from there, if you were to have full control of the development side of the game, what single change would you make? If it was to a god, a mode, a map, a client, what would you change about the game?
Well, they already took domination out, so that would be what I want.
Yes.
Yes. and apologies to Mesmerize, as I know that's his favorite, but no, on a serious note, frankly, Octane, I don't think the game should be balanced around anything people like me or casual players have to say. I really think the game should be, and I know a lot about the game. I know a decent amount about the game, but I still feel like obviously players like Pon, Rasterian, Sayo, players that are a lot more talented than I should have. If anybody from the community is going to impact the game, and I know this is sort of like a rhetorical flavor type question, but it's something the community gets harped on a lot. My Reddit thread on the fact that Zeus should be able to fly got 700 upvotes. Why isn't it changed yet, Hi-Rez? and frankly, it's because you're dumb. I think that the higher level players understand the game more. And balancing is a game of push and shove. And there's a lot of stuff that the casual players won't see. The chain reaction of changes that casual players ask for aren't able to be seen by the casual eye.
Yeah.
The professional players, not the professional, but the experienced players are the ones that, if anyone should be asked about those, it should be the experienced players.
Well, the thing there, definitely, I mean, and people don't realize that a lot, and comes with a lot of different games, actually, within the esports scene, the competitive side, is that a lot of games, for example, like StarCraft 2, is, the modified and the changes are made, and the balance is adjusted depending on your top-tier competitive players. And that same notion reflects directly over to Smite, if you take a look at it. Now, this isn't something I hear directly from Hi-Rez's ears, but I'm pretty sure this is how it works. Look at it. The game is completely adjusted, patched, and balances are directly off of the competitive players. Why? Well, they're the ones that play the game the most. Second, they're the best at the game, so they're going to optimize those players to the full ability. And then look at the way competitive players can change the game. Because we as casual players, or we as the community, we watch the way they play. We watch the competitions. We look at their builds. We look at the way that they go ahead and start off their skills. We go to sites like Tier Monster and look at the way that a certain player does a build or posted a guide about it. So if everyone in the community is following the competitive scene, why not balance it off of that? So I completely agree with you. Like, that's where the balance portion is, without a doubt.
Yeah, and I also feel that, like, casual players will have fun no matter what.
Yep, exactly.
Like, it might really, like, when I was just learning the game, I thought Fenrir was completely overpowered because he could literally grab me and put me on a tower.
Sure.
And then I realized that purification beads exist. Then I realized that he was a one-trick pony with Brutalize and Ragnarok. And, you learn to work around these as you play more of the game.
Yeah.
And, casual players, it's trickle-down economics, Octane Pro. Like, the changes that happen to the higher tier play, it will impact the casual game, and you'll still be able to have fun.
Sure.
100%.
Yeah, without a doubt. Let's go ahead and move on to our last question for F. and then we'll be taking community questions, and we'll move on to our first caller. Briticles will be our first caller here, and we'll move on to him in just a second. So, last question. What do you believe the Smite esports tournament scene can learn from industry giants like Riot's League of Legends and Valve's Dota 2?
You ready?
I'm strapped in and ready to go.
So much. Okay. I am not a huge fan of League of Legends, the game, but I watched the LCS stuff this week because it was just so damn engaging.
Sure.
And I feel like, Smite and Hi-Rez have really made steps to go into Smite has really made steps to go forward about how they deal with things. The production value has gone up so high. Sure. And before chat gets angry at me, the Fenrir one-trick pony thing was a gimmick. It was a joke. Calm down. I'm talking about low-level play. Sure. Don't worry, Zinder. I love you, baby. But anyway, I think a lot of it has to do with production value. Sure. I think production value, upgrades to the Spectate client, upgrades to the Spectate experience, and post-game stuff, to use a technical term.
Sure.
So let's attack that head on, right? The production, we're already seeing a beautiful we're seeing a beautiful stuff working out. Hi-Rez, when I did my casting, did a lot to ensure that everybody around had the top quality that they were looking for. Hi-Rez, I asked them to, and they confirmed the dress code, but just putting it out there. I wanted to put the suit and tie on. That's just me, looking fresh. But on a serious note, I think that's an important part. When you football's just a stupid game, Octane, but people take it seriously, and part of the reason is, there are men up there in suits discussing strategy, and I think the same thing is applicable to Smite. So that's part of it, and the last part that Hi-Rez, and Spectate client, Hi-Rez, every single patch, Spectate client changes, and the last part is post-game stuff. If you read my Twitter, I am constantly tweeting during these tournaments about individual plays, about stats, and that's just the stuff that I can mine myself watching the game.
No.
I would love a local replay, something that I could take myself. I would love stats. I would love to look at, how many mid harpies did Team B get? How many fire giants did Team A? What's the amount of first bloods that Zindern has under his belt in the entire season 1? That's the stuff that breeds intelligent communication and conversation about the scene, and we're not there yet, but I have a lot of faith that we're going to get there. I think that Tencent, the company that invested in Smite, they've invested in Riot Games, and that's why Riot Games is where they're at. So Tencent can give them a little bit of, hey, we've done this before, this is what's up. And second of all, Smite has seen, they get to look at Riot themselves, and Hi-Rez can say this is what works, this is what doesn't, and can make moves forward. It's definitely really cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things to point out there. A big thing you had talked about was definitely the analytical side, and as we talk about League of Legends and Dota 2 and even other esports in general, the big thing that I can see us picking up from a esports competitive side is just more analytics between games. Very much so, and what I mean by that is how cool would it be that after a game, or let's say before a game, before a game we have the analytical desk that we go ahead and see 2 guys or 1 guy at, and he's discussing the players and the stats that you're talking about. It'd be awesome to have those stats available where you could go ahead and look at these teams from a perspective and see, okay, over the last few weeks, what has been their focus point? Oh, they're great at first blood, and they've done this strategy, and here are some strategies we've seen from this team, and here's some stats on the different players. Here's the possibilities of what gods we're going to see selected, and show that type of stuff. I think it's huge. I understand it comes from a production side. Hey, how can we pull that off? Who could do that? Stuff like that. But the analytical side is definitely a side that I think we can improve upon as a community, looking at other esports and the way they do it. It's a great filler before a tournament, and then look at between games, having the ability to do like instant replay access, where like somebody could go in and just like a football game, use the whiteboard to go ahead and draw different routes that we see coming up right before a gank happens, or show how team coordination works. I think there's a lot we can learn from that. And yes, it is making us like other esport games. There's nothing wrong with that, because looking at other successful games like League of Legends and Dota 2, they're doing it right, and so it's okay to take a note from them. And I really like how you pointed that out, just analytical side of things.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think looking at what Riot has done, I mean, I implore you guys, everybody in chat and Octane yourself, to take a look at what Riot has done. You'll be surprised that you're not looking at ESPN. Yeah. Just the graphic work, the correspondence in different parts of the field. And the reason that we can totally have a little conversation before the tournament, but there's the information is limited because of the technology, and as I said, we'll see that more as it goes forward. But Dry Bear and Bart and DM and Lionheart and whoever he's casting with, Lionheart, DM, Dry Bear, everybody in the casting community, they do a good job at saying, you know what?
Oh, sure.
Denial's going to look for the level 1 engagement. That's what they do. Everybody's got to be afraid. Like that. We can recognize some of these trends, but that deeper level involved thinking is really tough to do without watching every single game with an Excel spreadsheet up on your second monitor. So, it's something that we, has to come with the technology, and we'll see more of that as time goes on. It's easy to forget that League of Legends and Riot Games have been doing the LCS for 4 years, and Smite isn't even out. This is our preseason season 1, if you will. We have a lot of room to grow, and I'm excited that we're already at this point before the release date even happened. So.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is, too, like you kind of talked about how Drybear and those guys do some of the analytical side. The thing is, people have to remember, too, is they can only do so much, and sometimes, it takes a whole different type of person to be looking at those analytics and those numbers. Those guys work so much, they can't do everything. Without a doubt. But definitely definitely there. So let's go ahead. We're going to go ahead and swap over gears, guys. Thank you to F. for the wonderful interview, a little insight into your world. We're going to go ahead and bring Briticles in here and, just kind of see what he wants to talk about, what questions he may or may not have. And if you guys are interested and you don't have voice chat, go ahead and you can go to ask.fm/OctanePro and ask a question there. And we'll be taking those questions kind of between some of our callers that are calling in. So let's go ahead and bring in Briticles. And Briticles, how's it going, man? Welcome to Smite Talk.
Hey. Hey, can you guys hear me?
We can hear you just fine.
Yes, we can, Briticles.
So what do you want to talk about today?
All right, I got a couple topics, but
Sure,
just depending on if we have time. I want to hear your guys' picks for the 1v1 Joust League just came out, so I'd like to hear your guys' top picks for this.
For the gods themselves? Is that what you're asking about?
Yeah, for the gods.
Kali. Kali, next question. I mean, Kali has a passive that makes her better than every other god. It's just Kali.
Yeah, and that's where I feel definitely with Kali. Kali literally like breaks 1v1 right now, because of the way that her passive works. You know, there's only one other god that it can focus on, so it kind of makes it more difficult. It's not very random with that. Someone else I've noticed that I've seen some of the top picks there are Freya. I've seen Freya be doing very, very well. A lot of bans on Freya, between Freya and Kali, just on my part. I don't do as much 1v1 kind of league, but I've been watching gentlemen like Dan Brandon, who does a lot of 1v1. And he always picks Kali because she's broken, and he just likes to cheat. He likes to cheat, but it's okay, you know. But outside of that, it would definitely be, it sounds like Kali, and for me, it's Freya.
Yeah, I mean, Freya's definitely strong. 1v1 is a fun mode. They included it in League play because they wanted to include bans, and bans in a casual mode seems kind of odd. That's all my conjecture. I have no idea what Hi-Rez says officially, but that's how I view it. And, I mean, it is what it is, and the answer is Kali. So,
what else do you want to talk about?
Do you want to talk about today's European tournament by any chance?
Man, if you want to talk about that, that's fine. I have no input. I have no knowledge of that.
No, I'm playing. Give me whatever you want, buddy.
All right, man. Second thing, I'm not seeing. So Nuwa came out, and I like to have every god mastered. So
Sure.
I played her over and over and over. Man, I hate her so much, and I did not enjoy it whatsoever. And I don't think she has much. I don't feel that her abilities have much of an impact beyond the laning phase. Like, she can push with her guards, but or her clay soldiers, I guess. But other than that, I just feel like she's nearly useless. She does have a great ult for the team fights.
Yeah.
But I mean the fog and the 3, I think, is kind of a little bit hard to land. I just don't think that. I feel like she's really bad.
So what are your thoughts there, F-Top?
Well, Nuwa is Dry Bear plays Nuwa a lot. And one of the things that I will say first and foremost before I mention anything about Nuwa is that she definitely has a very high and interesting skill component. The way all of her passives work together and utilizing that fire passive to the best of your ability will definitely impact how much she does. And keep in mind that end game, Nuwa is technically the hardest carry with that 200% damage on her basic attacks, her in-hand attacks. She has one of the highest potentials to be the hard, but you got to get there, right? So you're 100% right. The word I always use to describe Nuwa is awkward. It's just awkward. She doesn't really have a set role. I play her in the jungle, which I feel is like #bad, but I play her in the jungle. I really feel she only fits jungle, solo, and if you make a kill lane with on her. Like if you can impale through both of those lines from Pillars of Heaven. But I just feel like her kit is extremely interesting and exciting and entertaining, but not necessarily competitive viable.
Yeah, I mean, I see with Nuwa specifically as a and I've seen her excel the best at is definitely solo lane. Now granted, she might not be the best pusher in the world in solo lane, regardless of the fact of her clay soldier's ability and being able to push with that. And I've seen a lot of people level that first actually in solo lane just in order to have that extra push. But when I see Nuwa in a solo lane, it's very much a static quiet lane, I feel like is what I can call it. Like when you're in the game, it's not a lane that you see that drops super early. It's very slow, but it all depends. I mean, it really depends on how the person plays it, because I've seen some excellent Nuas that have done very, very well in solo lane. But just as F. had talked about, she scales very slowly. She almost reminds me of like a Shablanque. Like Shablanque, can scale pretty good, but Shablanque late game is a monster, and that's where I feel like Nua kind of sits as well. But as F. has said, you kind of have to wait for it. So, any other comments, F. On Nua?
Yeah, one of the important footnotes of this entire conversation is I feel like no one has figured her out. I think that I still don't think she'll be the most powerful god in the game. I don't think she's top pick material. But I'm not ready to say that she's completely unviable until I see somebody well skilled, besides Drybear, really try to work it out. And to be fair, Drybear playing Nua, he's done a lot better than any of the Nuas I've seen in casual. So she's definitely somebody you need to spend hours in the gym with. Yeah. But I don't know how much that'll come out. I don't know what the reward for that will be.
Yeah. What else you got there, Briticles? Great question, by the way.
All right. And I had a bit of a suggestion. I don't know how you guys feel about this. What really gets under my skin when I'm playing a game, we give up first blood, or even in arena, we give up first blood. They start spamming the good game, and I was thinking, what if they could just remove that until you're at those last final seconds, till actually the game has ended, where you can still kind of do the voice commands.
Sure.
That was just something that popped in my head. That's not much of a discussion thing, but I was just thinking that would help me out.
Yeah, part of the beauty of solo queue, and it's why I choose to, in a lot of my streaming, I choose to not play viewer games, because I want to experience the casual queue. And part of that experience is dealing with the people that are salty at minute 2, and I definitely don't think they should take it out or put a time restriction on it, because I'm from the camp, I'm sorry, Breticles, I'm from the camp that gamers in general need to, get a little tougher, so to speak. But, it's interesting that you note that, because, this week in Made of Statistics, we saw that, 75% of teams that have BM on their team lose.
Sure.
And so going in a completely different direction for just a sentence, I promise, is just that those people that are spamming good game, yeah, they're hurting you for the one game that you're stuck in with them, but that's their gimmick. They're not going to have fun in the game, and they might leave. If you make sure not to make that a part of your repertoire, if you make sure that you don't do that stuff, and you say, all right, this game sucks, let's move on to the next one, and you don't do that, and you give up first blood, and everybody says, you were a little overextended, let's try again, don't give up second blood, life is immediately better for you. And that's the type of people you're going to surround yourself with. And if you have a good attitude, you'll wind up, I'm not saying if you're a nice guy, you're going to win in Smite. Bad guys win in Smite all the time. Yeah. But, your chances of winning are a lot better if you're nice.
Sure. No, very, very good point there. What else you got, Briticles?
Last thing was, I've been playing League Arena a lot, and it's really difficult to get into some of the games. It'll just pop up almost. You got to think, I'm waiting 7 minutes. I'm basically sitting at my computer. I'm waiting, I think 7 or 8. I think it's 7, and I'm sitting here, and then just it's so tense. I'm just staring at my screen as the queue will pop. I accept. And then I'm just staring at my screen as the timer counts down, and I don't know if it's going to actually let me in a game, or it's going to say was unable to place you in a match this round.
Sure.
And it's so long to wait, and I really hope that they fix this. And I guess it's just due to the lack of players. I'm in the top, gold right now. Okay. And I guess it's just I guess there's just not enough players in that. And I can't even imagine, if I was in, I guess, is Diamond or Platinum after? I'm not sure. But if I was in the next one up, I don't even see how those guys get their games in, because those are the very few that got their game in that first half a month.
Yeah.
That assuming they ranked up each month.
Well, you got to remember, like, Smite has a very unique rank system. It's unlike anything I've ever seen in regards to how it's introduced. It's very much a trickle effect and will take months and months and months to not only get players in every tier, but then to also fill those tiers with the proper population. And it's interesting because, like, and I always reference StarCraft 2 because I have so much history with StarCraft 2 using their system, where their system, they already had such a large, like, they didn't have ranked originally. And then they got this huge population that played the game. Then they opened up ranked, and instantly they could fill all the tiers. Like, so after, and with them, they did like 3 placement, or actually it was 5 placement matches at first. And then after 5 placement matches, bam, you were put into a tier. And your tier was filled instantly, stuff like that. Whereas with Smite, with the game being in beta, and the population is the biggest thing. So if you're looking at the game from a population perspective, you have so many X amount of people playing the game, and then you have Y amount of people that even play ranked, which is significantly smaller. Ranked is very intimidating for some people. People don't want to wait around for it. People aren't interested. Not everybody's interested in the competitive side. Yes, F. Some people don't believe in the competitive side. Can you believe it?
What?
I understand.
What? What?
So,
what is this?
So that's the thing, is that the trickle effect occurs. So your answer in regards to population is correct. It has to do with population. If you remember some of the different queues that did develop with Smite when it first came out and stuff, they had much larger and long queue times, and that has significantly dropped down to a little bit more respectable times now that the population has grown so well. So I do agree that I believe that we will see it change as the game continues to grow. It is a little frustrating now, just the amount of time you have to wait. The only other way that I could see them deal with these long queues is to put in a mini game that, like, something you can play while you're waiting for the queue to pop. Okay, and this is how I see it, because if you look at Smite, the bans and picks is its own mini game. Think of it, like, there's so much strategy behind bans and picks. Then look at your items and your builds and stuff like that. That's its own mini game as well. And then Smite, well, the actual in-game movement and stuff like that. So a little mini game could work. I don't know what it would be, but I just don't see them having the queues be so long. For going 6 months down the road, I don't see it being that 7-minute queue timer. What do you think, F.
Yeah, I mean, the queue timer is just it's really funny the way communities in general work, because one day you'll look at Reddit and the top thread is the queues are too long, and then the next day the top thread is the matchmaking's so bad, and you kind of gotta pick and choose.
Yep.
If you get 3-minute queues, then you're gonna have like Pon against my little brother's day one account. Like that's right now you guys both hit the nail on the head. The population is the quote unquote issue at the moment. It's worth noting that there are no AFK checks.
Yeah.
You can queue up and go make food,
Sure.
walk your dog, take a poop, whatever you want to do. Like, you got 7 minutes to do it. So, that's that. And sometimes you don't get into a game, and, that kind of sucks, but that's the infancy of this game. Every week, we see E-Rez in chat saying, sorry, servers are bad. It's because we just have so many damn people playing this game.
What a shame.
Exactly. Like, the Creatures streamed yesterday, and they got 33,000 viewers because they are the Creatures, and we're just seeing more interest in Smite as people realize it's a cool game. And that's, we're gonna see more growth, and in turn we'll see queue changes and all sorts of stuff. But the long queues is one of those things that when you're like when you're 7, you don't understand why your mom won't let you eat 7 pounds of candy, because if you do that, you're gonna feel like death the next day, and that's what it is. Like, I've even everybody complains about the length of queues, but if you make them short, but it's Hi-Rez being your mom, right? Like, if they're shorter, you're just gonna play against people much better than you, get stomped and feel bad, or much worse than you, win the game in 10 minutes and feel good until the next game where you play against people much better than you and get stomped. So it's a necessity at the moment, but look to the future for things to change for sure.
Yeah, excellent question. You got anything else for us today, Briticles?
No, guys. Thanks a lot. See ya.
Yeah, have a good night. Man, can you imagine if every caller had that many good questions? You'd be here all night. Oh my goodness.
I have no problem. I love this stuff, man.
Let's go ahead and take a few questions from ask.fm/Octane Pro. We have a number of questions in here, and we'll kind of take a few. These two kind of are combined together. One says, what do you think should be done to balance Geb? As most players think that he is very unbalanced right now with his third ability, which is that shield, being too strong. So I'll throw this to you first. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, Geb's numbers are just really strong at the moment. And you know, it's people fail to recognize how incredibly difficult it is to balance a game with 4 characters, let alone over 40.
Yep.
So, you know, there's that. But, you know, Geb, the numbers should be changed. I personally love the shield. That's the type of interaction that I think is so cool. The highlight plays that can come out of that are so cool. I mean, just to, you know, be that guy. The other day it was me and my Thanatos on my team, and we caught the enemy jungler out in his own red. Okay. So Thanatos went up and dropped on him, right? Yep. And Thanatos, we got him, and then mid and solo rotated perfectly. Sure. Hoblock came. Thanatos was at 10% HP. And I put the shield on him the second before crushing wave hit, and I just left the game. I just got up and I did a dance. Like, and that's what Smite has to offer. Yeah. That's the cool aspect that keeps you playing Smite that other games don't have.
Sure.
And so I don't think any changes should be made to Geb outside of the numbers on his kit.
Well, it's funny because I feel like when I play Geb, and you feel like you kind of have that responsibility where if you see like your mid laner trying to retreat back in jungle and they're like down to 10 or 20% health, I feel like you have to pop your first ability, your Boulder Rock ability, roll over to them, because seeing as you can pretty much go half the map with that, and then pop your shield, because I feel like Geb, you know, the utility's there very much so. You know, he's not necessarily meant to get kills. His utility, you know, kind of like what we talked about with Aphrodite. I mean, I'm not putting him in the support category, but a lot of his abilities are support related. If you take a look at them, I mean, your ultimate's not going to kill anyone, but it's going to help to get them there for your AD or for your AP to go ahead and finish the job. So, you know, if I see any adjustments to Gem, maybe the shield on the amount of health that's given during the time, but you know, outside of that, I mean, I think everything else about him is rather balanced, especially for a new god. I feel like Hi-Rez has come a long way with how strong or weak they release a god, and I think Geb's kind of right there almost.
Yeah. I mean, it's also worth noting that. Yeah, I mean, it's also worth noting that the shield isn't permanent. You just kind of wait.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, don't put your stuff on cooldown.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't blow it. Don't blow it when they have shield. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like unless someone. Yeah, I mean, it's just wait, bro. Just wait.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. And that's actually, like Smitten in chat had mentioned, she was just saying, you know, it's not that Geb is, you know, overpowered. It's that you need to learn to counter him. You know,
yeah, you just have to learn to play against him.
Yeah, I mean that's like with his first ability, when that boulder's coming at you, just like take 2 steps to the left, like last minute, and he goes completely around you and then has to make that giant wide turn. And same thing with the shield. If someone has a shield on them, you know, I understand, you know, depending on who it is, can do a lot of damage, but, you know, just try to wait to pop your abilities with stuff like that. So, very much understandable. We'll take another question from chat here. This is a good one. How do you feel about the supposed 10 versus 10 game mode and how it would play out and feel along with how the map will look? Well, Hi-Rez has already said, I think, that don't quote me, but I think they said it was going to be on Arena. And they said the 10 versus 10 will be something we'll see within the next year. What are your thoughts on 10 versus 10 mode?
It sounds like a fun casual mode to play with 20 of your friends, like Mario Party.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Hooray.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's not going to be the next esport, you know.
Yeah, no,
it's definitely casual.
I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry to all the casuals out there. Like, I value competitive play a lot more than casual.
Sure.
But no, 10v10 is fun. Like, I have a lot of fun playing Mario Party. Yeah. I can have a lot of fun playing 10v10. Yeah. But, you know, I'm not going to, like, make a Reddit post or tweet about the ins and outs of the hyper-competitive aspect of it anytime soon.
Sure, without doubt. And one more question before we go ahead and bring Lucent Horse in. And you know, kind of throw this over to you. I guess we'll kind of focus this on the competitive side because this question could be so open-ended. They say, how do you what do you see in the future for Smite? And we'll aim it more towards the competitive esports scene, just because that seems to be kind of a F.dot specialty per se.
Huge things, okay. Octane.
Huge.
Yeah, I mean, just we're not even out yet, and we have a $100,000 tournament. Every week we see more and more viewers showing up to the weekly tournaments, both NA and EU. Sure. You know, NA had 5,000 viewers. Laz himself had like 10,000 viewers or something like that. You know, so we're seeing more and more people interested. The game's not out yet. You know, we're seeing more and more production value. The game's not out yet. We're seeing more and more. Newsflash: TSM and Cloud9 don't sponsor any other game, Octane. Yeah. They do not. Denial has mad games everywhere. Yeah. Dignitas has teams everywhere. Sure. You know, all these organizations, and I'm not putting them down. 10 points to them for being around and being consistent. But Team Solo Mid and Cloud9 HyperX, they are hyper competitive. You guys aren't familiar with the LCS. They are the best of the best. They are the New York Yankees, the Los Angeles Lakers. Yeah. They are top. And they value that. And you know, little bit of marketing 101. You don't dilute your brand by taking the Yankees and making yourself a professional bowling team. Yeah. Like, that's not something you do. And so to see TSM and Cloud9 not only approach Smite, but approach Smite before it's even officially released, Octane Pro, I think that combined with I think the TSM Cloud9 interaction with us, I think the obvious steps that Hi-Rez, and I can't applaud them enough, the obvious steps that Hi-Rez are making to both the Spectate client and the production value in general, and just the aspect that this is a damn fun game, and it's hyper competitive. Like, we see my man, I'm going to shout him out, my man DJ Pernicus has a weird schedule, so he doesn't play a lot, so he's not in the competitive scene, but he's an ex-Counter-Strike professional, and Counter-Strike and these types of games, they generally don't rub shoulders with, like, the quote-unquote nerdy aspect of RPGs or MMOs or MOBAs. But, you know, the fact that I can flat out outplay you by dodging your stuff because I am better attracts those types of individuals. So we're going to get the MOBA scene. We're going to get the hyper-competitive FPS scene. We're going to get this scene. We're going to get that scene. We're going to get people that just want to play Arena, and then they're going to fall into the trap of, look, I don't play Conquest, but I just love Laz's. I love Zapman. He's so cute. Like, we're going to get those fans, and we just can go up and up. And like I said, Tencent, hundreds of millions of dollars. Like, it's got to go to something, and it didn't all go to a Fenrir skin. So I'm excited. I'm excited, man. I'm so excited.
So we're going to branch a question off of that. You kind of talked about, you know, we talked about Team Solo Mid and Cloud9 being introduced into the team over the past few weeks, pretty much the same time as the qualifiers for the $100,000 tournament. So the $100,000 tournament, which is the Smite launch tournament in March, guys. So make sure you get your tickets. It's the most money we've seen within the Smite scene thus far, $100,000. And now that's broken up between the 1st through 8th there. My question to you is there concern that you have after the $100,000 tournament is over? And the reason I say that is because do we go back to your $1,000, you know, do we go back to $1,000 a week for the NA scene and $1,000 for the EU scene for these teams? Because, you know, the $100,000 is very attractive, but Smite Hi-Rez Studios as the publisher can't just go, you know, to me at least, now maybe I'm wrong, can't just keep going, all right, $100,000 here, $100,000 there, $100,000 to try to keep the scene alive. So, you know, we talked about the future of Smite. What are your thoughts there? I mean, what do you think we got to do as a scene in order to see things continue to ride this up and up? Because Hi-Rez Studios, as you know, just can't be dumping money into prize pools all day long.
Yeah, no, that's a definite good point, and it's definitely something that I've thought about in the past. And I think that the I kind of look at it as seed money, right? Like this $100,000 tournament comes from Hi-Rez, and that's what they're going to do. And they sort of set up their season one. I'm not sure. I'm almost confident that they're going to have some sort of league situation, some sort of structure, because that's part of what makes sports and esports in general so exciting. But they'll figure out their structure, and I kind of see this $100,000 tournament as something to get people interested. Something to get, wow, there's 100,000. Sure. This has to be interesting. And it attracts all these players. And then by the time the next big tournament comes around, we just have so much interest, whether it be from players, sponsors, competitive scene, what have you, that the $100,000 will either be A, more realistic for Hi-Rez to do on an average basis, or B, something that can come from sponsors themselves. So I do think that there's a definite worry in my mind about what happens after the 100K. Sure. But I have a lot of faith in the ability of Smite to attract a user base. And I think that more tournaments like this is definitely something that could happen.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, chat, I don't want you to, like, flame about it, you know. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy that Hi-Rez is doing the $100,000, you know, tournament. They're making a very smart move from a marketing perspective in order to grow not only Smite but also the esports scene. So it's a no-brainer. I mean, it's definitely a really, really good idea. What I'm just stating about and talking about is just like, okay, after that's over, what then? And that's the big thing. We have all this anticipation for March. Well, when March is over, what's the next big tournament? You know, that's kind of what I'm talking about. That's all. And I'm hoping to see something spawn up. If it's another team tournament that is hosted, if it's an organization that hosts it. As I've always said on Smite Talk, and I always talk about, Hi-Rez cannot feed the tournament scene forever. There's got to be an organization come in with sponsors that are backing it in order to fuel it and stuff like that. If it's look. Go ahead. What do you got?
I'm sorry, but Riot runs the LCS.
Yeah.
Like Riot there's a lot of sponsors involved, but at the end of the day, Riot is the one that are personally paying their players' salaries. You know, like Riot, you know, like that's something that Riot does. But why does Riot do it? Because they have so much. Like, I mean, literally, when you turn on the LCS, it says presented by American Express and Coca-Cola. Yeah. We have a lot of places to go before we get to that level. But once we get to that level, that's something that we can talk about. So, you know, I think that taking Hi-Rez out of the situation isn't necessarily something that has to be done. But, of course, we need a contingency plan because not everybody hits the lotto like League of Legends did.
Exactly. I mean, and we are entering, you know, we have talked about Smite entering into the MOBA scene not at its perfect peak, where it was first introduced in League of Legends and Dota 2, where, like, you know, gods among men. I mean, you know, we're coming into the MOBA scene a little bit late, you could say. I mean, it's still exciting, and MOBAs are still the top games out there, you know, hence by the viewer numbers and all. We're just coming into it a little bit later, that's all. And Riot and Dota 2 has definitely laid the groundwork for that, without a doubt. Let's go ahead and bring in Lucid Horse, now that I've kind of told him I'll bring him in like 15 minutes ago, and bring him in here. Hey, Lucid Horse, welcome to Smite Talk. How's it going, man?
I'm doing well. How about yourself, Ep.14? Ep.14?
Doing good, sir. Doing good. Thanks for waiting there. Do appreciate it. So what do you want to talk about today?
Yeah, today, well, first off, I would like to say from your talk earlier, Geb is amazing. Can we just talk about that for a second? Geb is so amazing.
He's so much fun to play. He's a true dedicated support. You know, we have a lot of support. Yeah, like we have a lot of supports that are like, hey, I got a stun. Hey, I got a taunt. Where Geb is like, what's up? I'm here to physically, I can knock up for you so you can use your moves. I can shield you so you can use your moves. You know, like Geb has a giant ult, but like that's kind of what tanks need. I think Geb is a lot of fun. And frankly, who doesn't like rolling around like Fred Durst all day? Like that's just fun. So.
Yeah. I've just had so much fun with him so far. I mean, that's just my sort of thing. Is I just love that like Uber support sort of thing. It's so good.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But with Geb being so good, and the patch coming up, I feel as though he's gonna get hit by the nerf train. I mean, most gods do. What do you think? You know, if he gets hit with the nerf train, what do you think they're gonna do to him?
What do you got, F.?
Yeah, I mean. I don't really know. They might mess around with the numbers a little bit, but I just, you know, the role covers a lot of ground, but so does the bird from Wukong. You know, the knockup doesn't really have anything to complain about. The shield is a lot of damage, but you know, You kind of just have to like freeze. I saw Zinder and say, yeah, 6 seconds is a long time. You're going to get your face punched in. Sure, if you stand still waiting for the shield to come down, like, you know, you got to like, they're immune to knockup, but not stun, not slow. You can kite so there are a lot of different things, and, you know, we might see the number adjust on that. And the ultimate, you know, it's a percentage-based thing that can be mitigated. I don't think we're going to see a nerf on that. I just think people think he's better than he is because they haven't seen him and they haven't played against him. But, you know, maybe we'll see a change to the numbers. I don't know. I want to see more competitive players play him before I make it a decision. All I know is I watched Trix Tank play him, and it was hysterical. So
yeah, I mean, if there were adjustments, I think it'll definitely have to do with his boulder on the distance, and maybe on his shield, on the total amount of the shield does, or maybe on the length of the shield. But as F. had said, it's definitely going to come down to number adjustments, and Hi-Rez is very good at tweaking that. So they could tweak it a tiny bit this week. We could see it tweaked again, you know, a little bit later on. But definitely the numbers with Geb. What else you got, Loose and Horse?
Not really a question. I just want to touch on something that F. said earlier.
Sure.
I agree with this. This is exactly what I've been thinking for like the longest time. But Nuwa is so good. I feel like she's like the old Zeus, where it was like, you know, it's okay, not really that. And then one person, you know, finds like, oh, you could do this, and it's like, wait, Zeus is like the most amazing god ever.
Let me cut you off there real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
Nuwa is nowhere near Zeus. All right.
Zeus
Zeus is in a league of his own.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, I think Nuwa is like, you know, is she good at what she does? I don't know, because she doesn't really do anything. But like I said, I think she's more powerful than people are giving her credit for. I don't think she's like a soggy sham wow. But in the same vein, I also think she's nowhere near the next Zeus. Like I think there's a happy medium. I think people can like play better with her and like unlock some hidden mystery. But I don't think she'll ever be top pick, top band.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. So, that was just something I wanted to touch on real quick. Then my next good question, which is, it's basically my last question, whatever.
Sure.
Is something I was thinking about the other day.
Okay.
And, like, this thought came to me, and I just thought, I love the idea, but of course I'm kind of biased. And I was thinking, what if gods had, maybe not all gods, maybe all gods, it would be a little awkward to try and make it for all gods, but what if gods could have a branching ultimate? So
how do you mean?
So you have your ultimate, which does this or this. Now, like Jean Kui, his ultimate used to give you healing and damage. Well, what if you could change it so that it was healing or damage, depending on the fight you're in? And I thought of it of two ways. One, you can either pick it, you know, as you pick your last pick for the ultimate, like your last skill ability, putting it into that. Or the one I actually prefer would be, you know, having your ultimate take up the 4 and 5 keys, and you know, you hit one and it puts the other one on cooldown automatically.
Yeah.
So you can't just do both, like, you know, whatever. But you have the option depending on the team.
Yeah. I think that's a really cool and really strong ability.
Yeah.
I love the idea of having a situational god. I love the idea of gods like Tyr and Hell that have stance switches and give them different abilities depending on the situation. That said, I think it's a very steep slope. I think it's very, very, very carefully. If they were to implement that, and like you said, I think that's an awesome idea. It sounds like a lot of fun. I would probably only pick gods of that magnitude, but it would have to be balanced very, very, very carefully. Because,
definitely. It would be really hard to balance that. But,
exactly.
I mean,
just because
I have faith. I have faith in Hi-Rez.
I think it's a cool idea for sure, but it's definitely a little testy, and we'd have to see it work out in practice. But I love the idea, Loose and Horse. I love the idea. 10 points to you, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really good idea. I can only imagine the balance headaches that Hi-Rez could run into with that. But I think it's really cool because you could allow somebody to, you know, their god a little bit more customizable. and it allows them to customize it per the game per se as well. As you kind of talked about with Zhang Kui, hey, just as you hit level 5, which is very early in the game, but you could kind of decide, okay, does our team comp need more damage at high-end team fights, or does it need more healing? Because that would determine, what you would select. So I like the idea.
Yeah.
I mean,
that could be interesting.
Yeah, we'd have to see.
I would just like to see. Yeah, I would like to see it shoehorned on just one or two gods, because the onboard experience for learning a god with so many different things like that is very daunting. And I think one of Smite's appeal is the ability to just get in and play arena with your friends.
Yeah.
So I like the idea for one or two gods. I don't like the idea for a gigantic group of gods. But no, I like the idea of choice. I like the idea of adaptability. So 10 points, buddy.
Sure. Anything else you got today?
Actually. Well, I was just gonna say that was just like one of the ones I thought, like Zhang Kui was really just like topic for just the kind of just explaining it better. The one that I thought of, which I thought of this because I play Guan Yu all the time, but Guan Yu he gallops on his horse, does a bunch of damage, whatever. What if the alteration to that was, he comes in, one person's getting collapsed on, he runs in on his horse, grabs the person, and runs out. It's like, see ya.
Sure.
Yeah,
like
I mean, yeah, that could be really cool.
They
could make his that would be really cool if they did that. I would like to see a change to the 1 that was sort of a leap, a 2 that would give him like protections, power, and like lifesteal, and a 3 ability that would make him do sustained damage and follow them over a dash. Oh wait, that's Fenrir.
3. Right. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, I mean, I like Guan Yu the way he is. Please bring back the old sound effects. I miss the.
Oh my god, it's so good. I don't know why they took it out.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like the idea for new gods, but I like the gods the way they are, bud.
Yeah. Good point. So, Lucid Horse, thank you very much for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me, as always.
Good questions, good ideas, and please make sure you call in next week.
All right, will do.
Thank you.
See you.
Thank you.
See ya.
Oh my goodness, that'd be crazy. But it'd be cool. All right, guys. Well, we're about a little under an hour and a half, so well over our original allotted time to have F. here hanging out with us. So we're gonna go ahead and close out the show. For those of you guys not familiar, the show is available in the audio-only version if you're interested, which is available on iTunes. If you look up Smite Talk, you can check it out. A lot of people we found enjoy it on the way to work, or if they're at the gym or riding the train into work and they just want something to listen to. So the full thing is available on iTunes. There isn't really anything to see about the show except for myself and F. sitting here. So you can, the audio version is definitely a good way to go. So check it out on iTunes, and please leave your reviews directly on iTunes. Directly reflects the show completely. If you guys have any questions, comments, or feedback, ideas for the show, anything like that, is there any community members that you guys want to see specifically on the show? Email them over to smitetalk@gmail.com. As always, Smite Talk is a production of OctaneProGaming.com. Please visit OctaneProGaming.com for another podcast I do every week called the Smite Update, which airs every Sunday at 5. Special thanks to Hi-Rez Studios for allowing Smite Talk to air every week on Smite Game. If you are checking out the VOD on YouTube, you can check it out live, actually, every Sunday at 7 o'clock p.m. on Smite Game. And F. Where can people check out your content? You talked about, doing a little bit more on your own stream. Go ahead, promote anything you'd like. This is the time for that. F. You still with me?
Okay. Yeah, sure, no problem. If anybody wants to email me payment for what they want advertised, now is the time. I'll wait. No, you can find me, like I said, weeknights. I'm at twitch.tv/fswag. I'll drop links in a second, but twitch.tv/fswag. I kind of just chill out at the moment, which I love. But I'm looking to do more stuff as I get more, things involved. You can find me every morning with the rest of my Tier Monster family, 7 to 10 a.m. I do first period every weekday morning on twitch.tv/tiermonster. It's great. Come join me. We talk sports, life, esports, competitive Smite, casual Smite. Come drink your coffee with me, hang out, have a good time. Everybody, it's just a great time for everybody involved. Also, I am a very recently, it's just bitten me in the butt. Twitter. I am a huge person on Twitter. If you don't care about like other stuff, don't pay attention to me during the week. But look at my Twitter during the tournaments. I go ham on Twitter. I like to think I have a lot of interesting insight, and other times I just go, "Oh my God, Zelia! Oh my God!" So it's definitely something for everybody. Give me a follow over there. That's twitter.com/f.swag. You can find me all over the internet. I already dropped it. I'll type it in chat.
Go for it.
Hold on, yards. But yeah, once again, I just want to thank you, Octane, not only for having me, but for doing this, period. I want to see a lot more content out there from not only myself, but from everybody else out there. This is something that everybody should strive for. I wish everybody in the community watch this because you put out quality content, Octane.
Thanks
again.
You're gonna make me blush. Come on now.
No. I'm just expecting my PayPal donation in 10 minutes.
Problem. No problem. It'll be coming up. I promise. We said we wouldn't talk about that on the show. Come on. No, I'm just kidding. Guys, also, if you guys are interested, currently running a collaboration between myself and Hi-Rez Studios. Go check out the website, smiteshop.com. That's where this t-shirt's from right here. Go outfit yourself, especially if you're going to the $100,000 tournament. 50% of all of the t-shirt sales over at smiteshop.com goes towards Child's Play. Child's Play is a charity organization that puts video game systems and consoles into hospitals where there are children that have extended stay. So make sure that you guys do check that out. Smiteshop.com. 50% of all the sales proceeds will go to charity. There's 132 t-shirts over there, so go check it out. There's plenty of good gear. This is one of my favorite ones right here. The new Smite logo, kind of glowing, kind of works out real well. Anyways,
I love that logo, by the way. I love it. Sorry, I totally just cut you off in your outro. I am the most rude person. I'm sorry.
I hate you. All right. Anyways, moving on from there, guys. Make sure you check out Smite Talk. It will not be on next Sunday. I do have to go away for business. That thing called a real life job does kind of pull me away from Smite every once in a while. So Smite Talk will not be on next week, but the following week we will be having on guest host Memorize will be on, and he's going to be coming to hang out. He is a community content producer, streamer, and known as The Voice. He just has this amazing voice overall, and we'll be having him on in about 2 weeks. Anyways, guys.
Domination professional as well.
That's right. Anyways, guys, thank you guys very much for joining me tonight. Special thanks to F. for coming on. Hi-Rez Studios for hosting the show. Stay tuned. I'll be back in about 5 minutes, guys, and we'll be doing community viewer games between now and 10 o'clock p.m., which is about an hour and a half. So see you guys then. Take care.